the history of human violence, we are obsessed with the great monsters. We know their names, we know their counts. Jack the Ripper, 5 victims. Jeffrey Dahmer, 17 victims. Ted Bundy, 30 confirmed. We look at these numbers and we see the face of pure evil. We imagine that modern society, with its sprawling cities and anonymity, created the perfect breeding ground for serial killers. We think of the serial killer as a modern invention, but we are wrong. Centuries before the term serial killer was ever spoken, deep in the dense, lawless forests of the Holy Roman Empire, there was a man who made Ted Bundy look like an amateur. He didn't kill 10 people. He didn't kill 30. According to the diary found in his lair in 1581, he killed 964 people. He aimed for 1,000. He was an accountant of death, a man who turned murder into a business and human lives into ledger entries. And yet, almost nobody today knows his name. His name was Christman Genipperteinga. And this is the story of the monster in the cave. To understand how a man can kill nearly 1,000 people without getting caught, you first have to understand the world he lived in. We are in the year 1570, the Holy Roman Empire. Forget the fairy tales of noble knights and safe castles. This era was a nightmare. Europe was in the grip of the Little Ice Age. Crops were failing. The economy was collapsing. And when the economy collapses, morality follows. The roads of Germany were not like the highways of today. They were thin ribbons of mud cutting through miles of ancient, unmapped forests. And on these roads, the law did not exist. There was no police force. There were no cameras. If you screamed in the woods, the only things that heard you were the wolves and the bandits. This was the golden age of the Raubritter, the robber knights, and the highwaymen. Merchants traveling from city to city knew that every mile was a gamble with death. They traveled in armed convoys, terrified of the shadows. But sometimes, greed made them careless. Sometimes they took a shortcut, and sometimes they met Christman. Christman wasn't a desperate beggar stealing bread. He was something new, something worse. He realized that the chaos of the empire was a ladder. He found a spot near the town of Bergkastel, a place called the Frasberg. It was a complex cave system, hidden high above the road. From here, he could see everything. He could see the glitter of gold on a merchant's carriage. He could see the solitary traveler walking home. To the people of the region, he was a ghost. People just vanished. Fathers left for market and never came back. Whole families disappeared between one town and the next. For 13 years, the forest simply swallowed them whole. But inside the cave, they weren't just disappearing. They were being processed. Christman Genipperteinga was not a scavenger. He was a predator with a system. Historical accounts from the 1581 pamphlet describe his lair not as a hole in the ground, but as a fortress. It was a labyrinth of tunnels, furnished with the stolen wealth of his victims. He had wine from France, silk from Italy, gold from the coffers of bankers. He lived like a king of the underworld, fueled by the blood of travelers. But the most chilling detail isn't the loot, it's his mind. Most serial killers kill for passion or rage or a twisted sexual desire. Christman certainly had those urges, but he also had the mind of a clerk. He kept a diary. Every single life he extinguished was recorded. Victim number 402, merchant, carrying spices. Victim number 615, two brothers, horse traders. Why? Why keep a record? Psychologists today might say it was a trophy, a way to relive the kills. But historians suggest something colder. It was a goal. He had set a target for himself. He wanted to reach 1,000 kills. He treated murder like a quota, and he didn't work alone. This is the part that makes the story truly terrifying. You see, a man doesn't kill 900 people by jumping out of a bush every time. He had a network, he had accomplices in the nearby towns, innkeepers who would see a wealthy traveler check in and send a runner to the cave. Rich man, blue coat, heading west. The traveler would pay his bill, leave the inn, and walk straight into Christman's trap. It was an industry of death. For 13 years, he operated with total impunity. He became a legend, a boogeyman, almost to scare children. Don't stray from the path, or the forest man will take you. But monsters eventually make mistakes. And Christman's mistake was thinking he was untouchable. Christman had a rule. No witnesses. Everyone who saw his face died, except one. The records tell us of a cooper's daughter. We don't know her name, but we know she was the daughter of a barrel maker, traveling to the city of Trier. Christman ambushed her wagon. He killed her companions. But when he saw her, he made a decision that would seal his fate. He decided to keep her. He dragged her back to his lair. He told her she was now his housekeeper. For 7 years, this woman lived in hell. She cooked his food. She cleaned the blood from his clothes. She watched him write in that cursed diary night after night. She watched the number go up. 800, 900, 950. Most people would have broken. Most would have given up. But the cooper's daughter was playing the long game. She realized that she couldn't overpower him. He was a brute of a man. She had to outsmart him. She feigned loyalty. She pretended to love him. She made him believe that she was part of his world now. She gained his trust, inch by inch, year by year, until one day she saw her opening. Christman was running low on supplies. He needed to go into town, to the market. Usually he went alone, but after 7 years, he thought he had broken her. He thought she was his. So he allowed her to come with him. But he wasn't stupid. He watched her like a hawk. One wrong move, one scream, and he would slit her throat in the middle of the market. She knew she couldn't just run. He was faster. She needed to leave a trail. Before they left the cave, she went to the pantry. She found a bag of dried peas. She hid the bag in her pocket and cut a tiny hole in the bottom. As they walked through the dense, trackless forest, she walked behind him. Step by step, a single pea fell. Then another. Then another. A breadcrumb trail of green, marking the path to the devil's door. When they reached the town, the tension was unbearable. Christman was armed. He was watching her eyes. She smiled at him. She played the role of the obedient wife. But the moment, the split second, he was distracted by a merchant. She vanished. She didn't run to the exit. She ran to the authorities. Imagine the scene. A terrified woman bursting into the magistrate's office, claiming she knows where the forest ghost lives, claiming she knows where the missing hundreds have gone. At first, they didn't believe her. But then, she told them to follow the peas. A heavily armed militia followed the trail. The peas led them off the main road, through the thorns, up the jagged rocks of the Frostberg, right to the hidden mouth of the cave. They caught Christman by surprise. The man who had terrorized the empire for a decade was tackled to the ground in his own living room. When the soldiers searched the cave, they retched. The pamphlet describes mountains of bones, stacks of stolen clothing, and there, sitting on his table, was the diary. They read the final count: 964. The trial was short. The evidence was overwhelming. In 1581, justice was not about rehabilitation. It was about vengeance. For a man who had killed nearly 1,000 people, a simple hanging was considered too merciful. Christman Genipperteinga was sentenced to the wheel. If you don't know what breaking on the wheel is, pray you never find out. The condemned is tied to a large wooden wagon wheel. The executioner takes a heavy iron bar and systematically shatters every bone in the body, arms, legs, ribs. But they are careful. They avoid the head, they avoid the heart. The goal is not to kill, the goal is to maximize pain while keeping the victim alive. Legend says that Christman Genipperteinga was so strong, so unnaturally resilient, that he survived on the wheel for 9 days. 9 days of broken bones, exposure, and agony. To keep him alive longer, the executioners reportedly gave him strong wine every few hours, just to make sure his heart kept beating so he could feel the pain a little longer. Only on the 9th day did he finally expire. The monster of the forest was dead. Historians today still debate the number. Was it really 964, or was that number exaggerated by the pamphlets to sell more copies? Was Christman one man or a composite of several bandits? We may never know for sure. But the diary was real, the cave was real, and the fear that gripped a nation was real. Whether it was 900 or 90, Christman reminds us that the scariest monsters aren't the ones under the bed. They're the ones waiting for us on the road, with a ledger in their hand, counting us as just another number. Thank you guys for listening until here. If you like this dive into the dark side of history, please subscribe. I'm digging up more stories like this every week, and you don't want to miss the next one. Now for the comments, let's play a game. Christman Genipperteinga targeted travelers strictly based on their profession. Merchants and bankers were high-value targets to be kidnapped. Beggars and artists were usually ignored because they had no money. I want you to comment your modern-day job below. Based on your job, would Christman have kidnapped you for ransom or let you pass because you're broke? I'll be replying to the best ones to let you know if you survived the 16th century or if you ended up in the diary. See you in the next one.